Deception, lies, fabrication. Bro, where do I even begin? There are many involved in the story, but there are two main characters that the situation is all about. First, the guy in the title. His name is Osmo. No, not this Osmo, this Osmo. And his whole thing is that he has like a BMW or something. I don't really know, man. He has a history of doing some pretty weird things. For example, there's literally a whole other situation that he's in dubbed the Osmo Files. This is covered by some random guy named Tuffer. I'm gonna drop the link in the description. However, if you need a too long didn't watch, then here's all you need to know. He's a 15-year-old trying to e-date someone who's older than 18. Here's some quick screenshots, but it genuinely looks so stupid from his position. He also decided to join an obviously fake Discord scam server, probably because he was looking for something that they weren't offering. And when you join one of these servers, it temporarily hacks you, sending an invite in many of your DMs and servers, which is precisely what happened here. Despite these occurrences, Osmo has kept his unrelenting spirit and continued to be the guy that he is, e-dating on a Minecraft PvP server. Now, the second guy is Trace, and he's a very interesting prospect. He's freaky, like, pretty freaky, but he's also not afraid to admit it. He's been like this for several years now. Now, Trace and Osmo play on the same Minecraft server, and I guess interact with the same people on Discord. So when Trace heard things that Osmo was doing, he wanted to use his influence to convince some of his friends to stay away from Osmo. He did this through fabricated screenshots, aka using an alt Discord account to fake some of the messages that Osmo has been doing. Note, this is one of the screenshots that I was sent about this fabrication proof. I didn't add those red lines, and I only later learned that the person referring here is not even Osmo, it's some random other guy that he wrote his name as a joke. That's only one of the many fabrications that Osmo has done. Regarding those screenshots, I was only received 2 screenshots that Trace sent outside of his Discord group chats. Now, it's true that he did make more screenshots fabricating, but they weren't sent outside the group chats. There were only 2 exceptions, and here are the 2 exceptions. Now, Trace claims that all the things he fabricated Osmo saying were real things that Osmo had said or done in some way. But the proof of Osmo admitting to those things were gone. But later on in the video, I will show you the proof of Osmo doing all of these things. By the way, here's the real account to the left and the fake account on the right. You can discern these two by paying attention to the left pillar next to the car. On the real accounts, it's more defined and you can see more of that pillar. On the fake accounts, it's less defined. Knowing this information, we can deduce which of these screenshots are real and which of these screenshots are fake. Now, I tested Osmo by sending him a real one, and he played it off saying he doesn't know, even though it's clearly not fabricated. Osmo was trying to back up the idea that just because some of the images were fabricated, he's trying to make a point that all of the images were fabricated. Yes, inspect element could have been done, but Trace at this point in time did not even own a computer, and he even asked me what the hell is inspect element. Anyways, the next thing Osmo tried to do was to retaliate against Trace by turning it into a legal fiasco. I mean, here are just some screenshots of him trying to turn it into a legal background. Now, I'm no legal eagle, so I can't say for sure if laws are being broken, but it's definitely pretty cooked either way. Now, Osmo continued to print Trace. He sent a 40-page document of him, get this, sending messages to his friends. Now, this document is 40 pages long, but in fact he made the screenshots so big that each screenshot takes up half a page, and he also pasted one screenshot, the same screenshot by the way, 20 separate times, meaning he's trying to fabricate that there's more evidence that there actually is. Now, I'm not going to send this doc or show it for obvious reasons, it's just him talking with his friends. So I don't know why that was even used as evidence. It shouldn't be. Also, Osmo claims that there are claims of harassment here, which don't make sense because the people that were quote unquote being harassed had no obligation to stay in those group chats. They weren't threatened to stay, they just stayed. I mean, if there was definite real harassment, then I would be hearing it from the people who were being harassed, not some random guy who has these screenshots. Now, again, a lot of these screenshots are even without context. Anything could be happening here and we wouldn't know, even if you forget the idea that these are supposed to be private group chats. All that Osmo and his friends have provided are cuts of threads and single messages. By the way, a quick detour, but the same people who clipped Trace to obtain these screenshots arguably said way worse things. I can't even show all of this because, I mean, someone else made a video on it and it got taken down because it's got some pretty bad things on it. That's not even the craziest part, however. Osmo's entire statement circled around this one image. Here he states that the age gap between Trace and the person he's talking to is 4 years, which is illegal. And it's definitely alarming. And in no way am I here to say that it's okay. But the thing that you gotta know here is that Osmo lied. I'm gonna tell you how he lied and the entire fabrication that he did on this. But I'll do that in a bit. I'll first take a detour to talk about this guy named Tuffer. Now, he's the same guy who made the video on the Osmo files, and he claims that he's gonna make a judgment based on all the evidence he's provided with. Now, he had only heard Osmo's side of the whole situation, and everything about Trace fabricating screenshots, him losing friends, him claiming that all of these allegations are not true, are the only things that Tuffer had learned about. The only words that Tuffer heard from the situation were from Osmo, mainly because he didn't even have Trace's Discord at that time. He was pretty much ready to pack it up, make a video to help Osmo. All he needed was Trace's side, which he was not getting. He was extremely hasty and quick to judge the entire scenario without actually knowing anything. And then I talked to Tuffer. I went into a call with him, and we evaluated all the evidence. Now, he wanted to use all of Osmo's 40-page document, since it all looked suspicious. But after realizing that these are mostly made up, out-of-context screenshots from a friend group chat, he decided to cut half of his script. The final nail in the coffin for Tuffer is just Osmo being Osmo. I mean, in this screenshot particularly, he says that Trace was talking to himself, and I don't even get how that's even being used as evidence if he's just talking to himself. I'm not saying using slurs are okay, but like, everyone here in this screenshot, except me, has been using slurs, so they should not be in this scenario to be talking. Now, Osmo is just a really difficult guy to talk to, and despite the requests, Osmo really gave me or him anything. And this is someone who had been with Osmo's side for this whole time, and yet he didn't leak the DMs that he had, which would explain everything. Yes, leaking DMs is a personal and private thing, and Osmo may have his own reasons. But even adding everything up about Osmo's behavior, it's just out of place for him not to reveal anything, since it would prove if the allegations are true and false once and for all. Now let's go back to the screenshot that alleged Trace as being a PDF file. Osmo says that there is a 4-year age gap here, but when I asked Trace about it, it's literally a 2-year age gap. I mean, he pinned this as such an important thing that he put it as like the thumbnail of the Google Docs. Like, I don't even know that's something you can do, but that's something he did. Now, I confronted Osmo, and here's what he had to say. He said that it was an honest mistake. Mistakes happen. He didn't lie, and all that, yeah. And also the fact that it was I who told him that Trace was at 17. Somehow I am the one being the reason why there was a 4-year age gap, for some reason. Now let me debunk both of these claims. The first one, of him just making a mistake, is invalid. One of the first messages he literally sent stated that Trace was a 16-year-old and there was nothing illegal going on. This is literally one of the first screenshots regarding this whole situation that he sent. Despite knowing this, he later says that it's illegal. The second thing here is that I never told him Trace was 17. This is the image of me asking him how old Trace is when he first called him a PDF file. And he said he was 17. Of course, if he tells me that he is 17, then of course I'll think that he is 17. So if I ever did throw around the number 17, it's because I got it straight from him as a source. This is also one of the reasons why Tuffer is no longer stuck with Osmo. For a guy who's really closely related to hearing both sides and keeping an unbiased review, he could not help but get swayed by this evidence. Also, that screenshot was fabricated. This is the real one, and the context is provided. Now, Osmo has done way more things. I mean, he started saying some pretty derogatory things to someone who was going through probably one of the worst times in their lives. He literally begged people to voice chat with him and do things with them even though he already has an online girlfriend. He made someone manipulate Trace, leading them to almost, ending themselves. Someone who even helped Osmo with the leaks got exposed and ended up deleting Discord, never to be heard again. Actually, no, they did. After this entire situation ended, they came back on Discord, apologized, because they knew what they did was wrong, I guess. And yet, despite all of this, at the time of writing the script, Osmo was banned for 2 weeks, while Trace and his entire friend group were banned for 3 months. Osmo is now unbanned, Trace is still banned. Now, I don't even know why the staff wanted to ban Trace's entire friend group when they hadn't done anything but be friends with them. But at least they let Trace take a 6-month ban so that no one else had to get banned. He basically sacrificed himself. These are just a ton of screenshots of Trace just admitting everything and leaving staff in a position that he was in because of this whole situation. And I'm telling you because of all of this situation, how is Osmo the guy getting banned for 2 weeks while Trace is getting banned for 6 months? This is one of the conversations I had with the staff member to appeal for the things Osmo has already fabricated. Now, literally, he states that the reason why Trace was banned was because his actions were making the server seem like we let people like Osmo free. So Trace was really getting banned for telling the truth. Now, this is really nothing against the staff member, but this really does not make sense. I don't even want to get started on how that's just not a good way to handle the decision, or even accurate for that matter. While writing the script, Osmo came back with more stuff. Here is some more screenshots of things that he said. And finally, after half a month of lies and misinformation by Osmo, his e-girlfriend leaked the DMs between herself and Osmo. And yeah, it was pretty bad. It was genuinely terrible.